I was born in Chicago on a kitchen table that I made with my own hands. At least my mother, Natalie, insisted it was so. Natalie was my North Star, my comforter, my protector. I was her first child, and she never got over the miracle of birth. She could not talk about me without the aid of a thesaurus. I was brilliant, talented, handsome, and witty, and that was before I was 6 months old. I never addressed my parents as mother and father. They preferred that I call them Natalie and Otto, possibly because it made them feel younger. Natalie Marcus was born in Slavitka, Russia, near Odessa, during the reign of the Tsars. When she was 10 years old, she escaped a Russian pogrom against Jews and was brought to America by her mother, Anna. Natalie was a beauty. She was 5 foot 5 inches tall, with soft brown hair, intelligent grey eyes, and lovely features. She had the soul of a romantic and a rich inner life. She had no formal education, but she had taught herself to read. She loved classical music and books. Her dream was to marry a prince and travel around the world. Her prince turned out to be Otto Schachtel, a Chicago street fighter who had dropped out of school after the sixth grade. Otto was handsome and charming, and it was easy to see why Natalie had been attracted to him. They were both dreamers, but they had different dreams. Natalie dreamed of a romantic world with castles in Spain and moonlit gondola rides in Venice, while Otto's fantasies consisted of impractical get-rich-quick schemes. Someone said that all it took to be a successful writer was paper and a pen and a dysfunctional family. I was raised by two such families. In this corner, I would like to present the Marcus clan, two brothers, Sam and Elle, and three sisters, Pauline, Natalie, and Fran. And in the opposite corner, we have the Schachtels, two brothers, Harry and Otto, and five sisters, Rose, Bess, Emma, Mildred, and Tilly. The Schachtels were extroverts, informal, and street smart. The Marcuses were introverted and reserved. The two families were not only dissimilar, they had absolutely nothing in common. And so fate decided to amuse itself. Otto was a spendthrift who enjoyed throwing money around, whether he had it or not. He would often invite a dozen guests to an expensive restaurant, and when the bill came, borrow the money from one of them to pay the tab. Natalie could not stand borrowing or owing money. She had a strong sense of responsibility. As I grew older, I began to realize how totally unsuited they were for each other. My mother was miserable, married to a man she had no respect for, living an inner life that he could not understand. My father had married a fairy tale princess only to find himself bewildered when the honeymoon ended. They argued constantly, but these were not normal arguments. They were bitter and vicious. They found each other's weak points and tore at them. The arguing became so savage that I would run out of the house to the public library, where I escaped to the peaceful and serene worlds of the Hardy Boys and the Tom Swift books. One day, when I got home from school, Otto and Natalie were screaming obscenities at each other. I decided I couldn't stand it any longer. I needed help. I went to my Aunt Pauline, Natalie's sister. She was a sweet, loving dumpling of a woman, pragmatic and intelligent. When I arrived, Pauline took one look at me and said, "What's the matter?" I was in tears. "It's Nat and Otto. They fight all the time. I don't know what to do." Pauline frowned. "They're fighting in front of you?" I nodded. "All right, I'll tell you what you do. They both love you, Sydney, and they don't want to hurt you. So the next time they start to fight, you go up to them and tell them that you don't want them to ever fight in front of you again. Will you do that?" I nodded. Yes. Aunt Pauline's advice worked. Natalie and Otto were in the middle of a shouting match when I walked up to them and said, "Don't do this to me. Please don't fight in front of me." They were both immediately contrite. Natalie said, "Of course, you are right, darling. It won't happen again." And Otto said, "I'm sorry, Sydney. We have no right to put our problems on you." After that, the arguments continued, but at least they were muffled by their bedroom walls.